What if Naruto was an Uchiha Part 11? The next morning, Naruto and Sasuke wake up to Jiraiya shaking them both awake, telling them that they need to get going. Tsunade is not going to find herself, with a small heartwarming grin. Naruto gets up well rested, but Sasuke, still having some backlash from using the curse mark, and he once again had that recurring nightmare of seeing his parents die in front of him. But this time, Itachi had a genuine smile on his face, reflecting what Itachi said to Naruto about crying with happiness when he killed the clan. The three of them set off again on the road leading into a new town, and Sasuke asked Jiraiya if there was anything he could teach him. To which Jiraiya told him that he doesn't have anything to teach him, but maybe they can refine his Chidori or channel it through a sword, which would allow it to be used without the run-up that is needed for the initial blow. Sasuke thinks about this and thinks it's a good idea, and says that he'll buy one when they get into town. Naruto tells him that maybe he could learn the Rasengan, but Sasuke said that the amount of chakra needed to use that technique is even more than the Chidori, which would mean that Sasuke could only use one a day, or something along those lines. Which basically means it's a Hail Mary, a lot like the Great Fire Annihilation. They arrive in town and continue their investigation. They go to hotels and restaurants, and no one had heard of Tsunade, let alone where she is. Before they turn in for the night, Jiraiya tells them that they should get something to eat that's not rations or instant ramen, which made Naruto a bit puzzled, as instant ramen's probably one of his favourite things to eat. They go into the only restaurant that they haven't visited and are about to sit down, when Jiraiya hears a familiar, very drunk voice. He turns around and sure enough, in the corner, pissed as anything, is Lady Tsunade. Jiraiya leads the two Uchihas to Tsunade's table, and they all sit down facing her. Jiraiya says, "Long time no see," and Tsunade asks what the fuck he's doing there. He explains everything that had happened, and why they were there. Tsunade, like the original, starts mouthing off about the Hokage position, saying that it's basically bullshit, and every Hokage's destiny is to die. Naruto snaps. He stands up and tells Tsunade that she needs to shut up. The third Hokage put his life on the line for the village, and if he didn't, her friend Orochimaru would have destroyed the village. Tsunade laughs and says if he feels that strongly about it, why doesn't he become Hokage? This time, Sasuke stands up and says that he will be one day, but right now he could use someone to keep the seat warm for him. And they both say that they want to fight her outside. Jiraiya was about to try and stop them, but he's seen that both of them had already activated their Sharingan. Basically, trying to stop them would be pretty redundant at this moment. If he tried, they wouldn't stop, basically. As Naruto has a point to make, and Sasuke still needs to blow off some steam after the encounter with Itachi. They all go outside, and Tsunade tells them to come at her whenever they're ready. To which Naruto makes 4 clones, who all jump at Tsunade, with their chains trying to wrap around her to keep her still. But when the clones try to restrain her, she simply pulls them towards her and hits them all, dispersing them. Now knowing that she is fairly strong, Sasuke launches a fireball at her, which she simply jumps over and asks them if that's all they've got. This pisses off Sasuke, as you can probably imagine, and he does the hand signs for the Chidori. When it is formed, he rushes towards Tsunade, but she grabs his wrist, stopping the Jutsu in its tracks. But she is fairly impressed that this Genin can use the Chidori. But then she is severely shot when at the back she could see Naruto forming a Rasengan. She turns to Jiraiya with a look on her face that says, "Are you kidding me right now? You taught this kid the Rasengan." But when she looks back, Naruto was in the air with the Rasengan 6 inches from her face. She looks behind the Rasengan and sees Naruto's face. And now, with Naruto's face behind the Rasengan, she remembers something quite fondly. Minato. It's now that she realises that Naruto is Minato's son. Naruto hits her with the Rasengan, knocking her back and separating her from Sasuke. Tsunade stands up with only minor injuries and now is pretty sober. She apologises for riling them up, telling them that they were weak, and she is sincerely sorry for what she said about the Hokage. Jiraiya asks her once again if she will come back to the Leaf as the 5th Hokage, and after a few minutes of silence, she accepts and tells him that there is something that she needs to take care of in town first. She says that she'll meet them here tomorrow and goes to her hotel with Shizune. Sasuke and Naruto then head off to begin training for the night, as Naruto was still awake and Sasuke didn't want to go to sleep. He didn't want that nightmare again. Sasuke keeps his word and goes to buy a sword from the shop, grabbing something that greatly resembles his Kusanagi blade from Shippuden. He practices channeling Chidori into his new blade, extending his reach and increasing the cutting power of the sword, while Naruto again makes 50 shadow clones, who all practice adding wind chakra to the Rasengan, also increasing the cutting power of his Rasengan. It takes a lot of chakra, but eventually using his shadow clones, he does actually get a good grasp of it, not just when Kurama is involved. He knows, however, that he can push it further, but right now he's too low on chakra. For the first time, Sasuke is actually out longer than Naruto training. When Naruto goes to the hotel room, he sits on the bed and meditates to enter his mindscape. He makes contact with the Ninetales and thanks him for helping against Itachi, to which the Ninetales is slightly taken aback, thinking that maybe Naruto isn't all bad, for an Uchiha that is. After all, he's taken time to at least acknowledge that he had some help, even from a beast like him. Kurama just grunts, telling Naruto that he didn't do it for him. If Naruto dies, then he dies, so it's in his best interest to keep Naruto alive. Naruto says that he doesn't believe him, but if that's how he wants to be, then so be it. But I'll be back to change your mind. He wouldn't admit it, but this actually makes Kurama a bit happy, knowing that even though it's just one person, and a kid at that, he at least has someone to talk to. The next day, Tsunade meets them outside, as she promised, and tells the group that she's ready to go. Tsunade went to the meeting area with Orochimaru earlier than normal, and left a note that says she isn't coming, and if he ever appears near the Hidden Leaf, she will kill him for what he did to their sensei and their village. So they head back to the village, and they get back pretty quickly, as Naruto was basically making them run the entire way, knowing that Tsunade is going to help his friends and everyone else in the village. When they get back, they visit Kakashi, who wakes up after a quick bit of treatment from the Slug Princess. Naruto then tells her that Lee needs a lot of help after his leg being shattered by Gaara. She goes and checks him, and then realises that she can operate immediately before going to the mansion. And as in canon, the operation is successful, and Lee is told to take it easy for a couple of weeks, only very light training. But we all know he's going to be doing push-ups and shit like that straight away. They go to the mansion, and that night, Tsunade is inaugurated as the 5th Hokage. Now, just a heads up, I think the next part will most likely be the last part of the original Naruto series. So I'm going to ask now if you want the next part to come out on its own, then the movie of part one, or would you like me just to add it to the end instead of adding it as another part, if that makes sense. Just do the movie instead and add it at the end. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Anyway, let me know what you thought about this part and any improvements I can make. Subscribe and share if you really want, I guess. And I'll see you next time. Bye.